In the classroom, the result list is posted and Muyok's name is at the top. He and his two friends happily come outside. No-soo excitedly says, "Do you see his annoying face? He was completely screwed up. Wow." But you're the top student now. Hyun-sung asks, "So, are you going to Korean university now?" Muyok replies, "Manhwa, you should start studying seriously too. I'll help you. And as for Hyun-sung, get back into judo and apply as a special admission student at college." No-soo had fairly high grades up until the middle of high school. He could have pursued a liberal arts education but chose to enter a vocational high school to follow his passion. Hyun-sung was also a promising judo player in middle school, but he chose this school, even though it had no sports team, simply because he didn't want to be separated from his friends. No-soo, standing upstairs, says, "What's the point of studying now? I might just take over Dad's nightclub." Hyun-sung adds, "My body is pretty stiff now. I'm thinking of working in a factory." Muyok approaches them, wraps his arms around their necks, and says, "No-soo and Hyun-sung, I might need to do something important in Seoul. It will be difficult for me to do this alone, so I hope you guys will help me. Let's work hard together and head to Seoul, my friends." As they stand on the stairs looking out toward the distant sea, evening is settling in. Muyok thinks that go into the future doesn't mean I'll take revenge alone. Whatever happens, I need comrades who won't betray me, people I can trust and rely on. He then looks at his friends and says that he can trust them. At school, Muyok starts focusing on his studies and easily ranks first in the second semester's final exams. No-soo grades aren't as good, but he begins to improve. While Hyun-sung resumes his exercises, everything starts to fall into place. Winter begins and snow falls everywhere on the mountains and trees. Muyok stands in front of the Cheon family's mansion, looking around and thinking, "I am back in this unassailable fortress of the Cheon family." Pyeongchang-gong, Jeongno-go were the most influential areas in the country. This was the location of the fortress of Cheon-tizen. At that time, it was ranked first in terms of mobilization capability. The Third Republic had seized power through a military coup, and the Fifth Republic followed another coup. Even the current regime recognizes this unassailable fortress. Lee Shocking is protected his wealth from all powers. Muyuk is eating a meal at the table, while Cheon Taesin enjoys his food on the other side. In Muyuk's life, these moments never occur in his past life because he only met Cheon Taesin after he entered Korea University. This means his value evaluation has changed. Now as they both sit in the drawing room, Cheon Taesin is sipping tea and says, "I heard you secured first place in 2 consecutive semesters. The level of your school isn't outstanding, but it seems you're not just boasting this time. It's your intelligence." Cheon Taesin places his teacup on the table, gestures to his head, and says, Muyuk returns a faint smile. Cheon Taesin observes him and says, "It seems you're good at keeping promises. I'd like to give you a gift. Is there something you want?" Muyuk responds, "I already told you I would let you know what I need, but first, I need to be accepted into Korea Law University." Cheon Taesin replies, "Yes, according to our agreement, if you've been accepted into Korea University Law School, I'll give you everything you need at that time. But now tell me what you need at this time." Muyuk thinks to himself, if Cheon Taesin is trying to be a good grandfather, he should ask for an allowance. He says, "I would like some shares in the company." Cheon Taesin is taken aback and asks, "Shares in the company? Do you even know anything about the stock market?" Muyuk answers, "I don't know anything about it. That's why I'm asking you. If I were to buy now, which company's stock would be a good option?" Grandpa glances at him. "If I ask for stocks over money, you would just consider it a cute request from your grandchild, right?" Cheon Taesin brings a faint smile and then tells the director, "Director, what's our stake in the Daeon Corporation?" The director replies, 47%, sir." Cheon Taesin then instructs, "Give him everything to my grandson. This is a gift for him. Make sure all taxes are paid so there are no issues." The director acknowledges understood. Muyuk is shocked when he hears the name Daeon. At that time, Daeon was the undisputed top conglomerate, ranked number 1 in all Chibol. However, after the founder's death, the estate was divided among heirs due to disputes. Daeon shares are not just about money. It's very difficult to acquire Daeon shares, even if one has money. Muyuk stands and says, "Thank you, Grandpa." He boasts slightly and thinks that he expected only an allowance, but is pleasantly surprised by the substantial gift. He then returns to his seat on the sofa. At that moment, someone enters and says, "Father, we're here." Muyuk looks up in surprise. It is Cheon Suman with his wife, son, and his brother, Cheon Suan. Cheon Suman asks, "Are you the son of Misuk?" Muyuk stands and faces them, thinking, "Are these the people I've been searching for? They're the ones who gave the order to kill me." Cheon Taesin says from behind, "Greet them. They are your uncles." Muyuk stands there, thinking that he is most suspicious of them given the circumstances, but he must stay under their radar. He slightly bows and says, "Hello, uncles. My name is Muyuk." Cheon Tizan says, either you grew up without mishap in difficult conditions and that your grandmother raised you. It's nice to meet you. As a family, if you need anything, let us know. Suin places a hand on his shoulder and adds, after all, we are family. In a room, Cheon Tizan comments, are your mothers-in-law doing well in business? Either the Samsung group is in a difficult situation these days. The woman responds, no, everything is fine. Media is making stories as they please. You know how my father-in-law is. Cheon Tizan says, yes, I know them. They are a ruthless person who doesn't shed blood or tears. Still, let them know that if they need help, they can consult me. They become our family after marriage. I cannot ignore them. The girl replies with thank you, saying, yes, father. I will convey that. Now Cheon Tizan asked Cheon Suin, how is Mr. Kim? Chen Suin said, my father-in-law is doing well and engaged in politics without issues. Cheon Tizan tells him, tell them to come to me if they need money. They do not need to get into any trouble because of illegal pocket changes. Now Cheon Tizan asked from all, by the way, has anyone among you sent money to President Lee Haek-soo? You should not use money in such a way. Make sure they come to you and beg for it themselves. Never give them money before they beg for it. Cheon Sumin asks, father, don't you know who stands behind President Lee Haek-soo? If we break our promise, Cheon Suin interrupts and says, he is right, father. If we do that, Cheon Pong will not stand still. Still, Cheon Tizan listens intently to their discussion. It's raining outside as Muyuk enters his mother's room, thinking that her room is still exactly as it was in his previous life. He pulls a book from the bookshelf, and as he opens it, he finds a picture inside, a photo of Cheon Tizan and his mother standing together. Muyuk reflects that this is the only photo he could find of his mother in his previous life. His grandfather hadn't left any other pictures behind, as if he wanted the entire world to forget about his mother. Suddenly, the door opens and Muyuk turns to see a boy entering. The boy asks, are you Misuk's son? Muyuk glances at him, thinking, yes, Shibam Juwon bastard is here. This might be the boy who ordered my killing. In his eyes, I must have been a threat, as I was someone after the inheritance he was determined to get. Cheon Juwon continues, you were in Busan before you came here, right? How does it feel coming from the countryside to Seoul? It must be harder for you to adjust. Muyuk asks, who are you? Cheon Juwon replies, why are you being so curt? Do you know I'm older than you? Don't people from the countryside, especially from Busan, know how to speak properly? Muyuk gives him a cold look and thinks, how childish. Whether it's the past or the present, it's all the same, unfortunately, with a remarkable consistency. He places the book back on the shelf, steps toward Cheon Juwon, and angrily says, so if you're older than me, you're speaking informally with me too. This is the first time we're meeting, and you expect me to treat you with respect. Cheon Juwon was taken aback by Muyuk's reaction. He wasn't used to anyone showing him such hostility. After all, his father was the eldest son of a loan shark, the king of Nongdong, and his mother was the eldest daughter of the chairman of the Samsung Group, which ranks 5th businesses in the world. Who would dare speak to him like this? Cheon Juwon sneered and said, how dare you? Nobody acts so arrogantly. But then he regained his composure and continued, enough. I don't know why you're here. This place isn't for someone like you. How much will it take for you to leave? Is 100 million be enough? With 100 million in a place like Busan, you could live like a chaebol. Muyuk pondered for a moment and thought. He said the same thing as before. He couldn't say anything and stood here like an idiot. He then sarcastically replied, wow, as expected of the eldest son. Are you planning to give your younger brother some pocket money? Cheon Juwon scoffed and said, isn't 100 million won just pocket money? If we go to Jigaoki, we could only get a plate of sashimi for that. Then with a sneer, Cheon Juwon added, this is why you have no parents. Didn't you say your grandmother raised you? Look at you, I can see the state that poor old woman was in. Suddenly, Cheon Juwon froze, his face contorted in confusion as Muyuk punched the door near his face, eyes blazing with fury. Yeah, she did. Do you want to be beaten by this countryside buckin who learned nothing because he had no parents? Cheon Juwon, stunned and enraged, retorted, do you think you'll get away with this after attacking the eldest son of another family? I'll tell grandfather about this right now. Muyuk scoffed, you fucking idiot. Control yourself. Right now, you're nothing but a reckless grandchild who loves to take drugs and might even resort to smuggling. That could be reported in the news. Cheon Juwon, visibly shaken, stammered, what are you talking about? Muyuk smirked, don't you see? Should I tell you about those other chaebol kids who do drugs in hotels and end up sending girls to the hospital? Cheon Juwon, now truly alarmed, demanded, how do you know all this? Muyuk calmly replied, the most important thing is you're still a child. If you think I'm not confident enough to go to grandfather and tell him all of this, will you come with me? Cheon Juwon was completely stunned, fear evident on his face. Muyup knows all the incidents he caused in my past life. Surprisingly, those accidents were nothing compared to what's going to happen in the future. Muyup placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Big brother, if you want me to treat you like an older brother, then you need to act like one." Chiban Juwon, leaning against the door, trembled as Muyup added, "Now can you leave? I'm a bit tired today." Chiban Juwon, his voice shaking, warned, "Don't tell anyone about this or one of us will die. Understand?" Muyup chuckled, "Is that a request or a threat?" Chiban Juwon replied, "A request." Muyup then waved his hand dismissively. "Guide, now shut up and leave. I already understand. Get out of here quickly." Chiban Juwon opened the door, left, and closed it behind him. Muyup thought, could this Chiban Juwon be the one who ordered my death? I could be taken down by someone like that. Morning comes and Muyup walks down the stairs. His grandfather is standing there. His grandfather asks, "Are you leaving?" Muyup nods slightly and says, "Yes, I'm leaving now." His grandfather starts to walk away and says, "All right then, go ahead." Muyup bows slightly again and says, "I'll visit you often." His grandfather looks to the other side, takes a puff of his cigar, and then gestures with the same hand for him to leave while looking out the window. When Muyup arrives in his city, the director hands him an envelope and says, "Here, take this. It's 100 million won." Muyup takes the envelope. The director continues, "This is a gift from the chairman. He felt the Dayum stocks might not be enough for you. The password is the anniversary of a young lady." No, the password is the anniversary of Muyup's mother's passing. Muyup looks at the director in surprise, thinking about how meticulous John Teason is in handling such things. He then tells the director, "Thank him on my behalf." The director replies, "You can thank him personally. I'm sure he'll be waiting for you." Muyup stands there silently, taking it all in. Now, as a second-year student, he finds himself in a different class. However, Namsu is still working hard, and Hamon-sum has dedicated himself to the judo club. Everyone is doing their best in their own way, with the promise that they will all go to university together in Seoul. One day, a new student arrives in the classroom. The teacher introduces him, saying, "This is a transfer student from Seoul. Everyone, please pay attention." The student stands before the class and introduces himself. "My name is Hong Jinbyo, and I'm from Seoul. It's nice to meet you all." This guy was a new kind of crazy person. A group of boys wearing school uniforms were eating ramen inside the hotel. A new boy was smoking a cigarette named Hong Jinbyo and addressed the others, asking, "Who is the head of the school?" Another boy responded, "Head, are you talking to the boss?" Another boy added, "We don't have a formal boss, but the closest one should be Kim Muyuk." The Hong Jinpyo asked, "What grade is Kim Muyuk in?" The boy sitting next to him replied, "A high school student. He's very strong." He then began telling the boy about an incident that happened last year when the semester had just started. The seniors called everyone who showed potential. Everyone in the class listens to them, but Kim Muyuk keeps his head on the desk. Seniors came to him and said, "Didn't you hear us telling you to come outside and you are here sleeping like a fool?" The senior slapped Kim Muyuk hard on the head while he was resting it on the desk. Muyuk then slowly got up, cracked his neck, and stared blankly at the senior. The senior, now cautious, looked back at him, but before he knew it, he was forcefully knocked to the ground. Muyuk had given the seniors a good beating and fought with them. Then he called out to the other boys, saying, "I'm going back to sleep. Don't wake me up." The boy who was telling the incident remarked, "Seniors didn't even dare to touch him after that incident because now he only focuses on his studies." The Hong Jinpyo then said, "Oh, so he's living a quiet life now, focusing on his studies even though he's the strongest. Isn't he just an arrogant bastard? It would be so much fun messing with a guy like him." Another student asked, "Are you thinking of fighting him?" The boy sitting beside them warned him, "Don't start fighting for no reason. He's on a completely different level." The Hong Jinpyo with the holding cigarette said, "Just because you fight well doesn't mean you win every time. Are you guys with me because you lost to me? No, it's only because my dad is the chief prosecutor." "What does his dad do? Tell me." The boy sitting next to him said, "He doesn't have parents. He lives with his grandmother, but he has a grandfather. We don't know much about him though." Hong Jinpyo, now with a slight grin, said, "Really? So he doesn't have parents?" His expression turned mockingly amused. Outside the school in the park, Muyok and Maimsu sit on the steps chatting. Nosu says, "It seems like Heaven-Some Sports Club went to the sports club again." Muyok replies, "Yes, he did rest for quite a while. It was so enthusiastic about going to the physical education college that it even followed a strict diet." Nomsu adds with a laugh, "Our little Hemsung is finally starting to mature." Suddenly, Nomsu looks surprised and says, "Have you heard about that transfer student, Hong Jinbyo, who came from Seoul? He looks like a pretty boy and speaks with Seoul dialect. It's very annoying." Muyok called his name, Hong Jinbyo. He's the chief prosecutor's son who transferred from Seoul. Muyok didn't pay much attention to him since I was so busy studying. but he started to run the school as he wanted, using his father's influence. Nosu said even the seniors are not in the school due to the outing, but Jimpyo has created a circle for himself and is getting even the freshmen to act like gangsters. The school has completely become his playground. Mudia then suddenly glances at the other side of the playground where some boys are passing by. Nomsu says, "There goes the pretty boys." Jimpyo standing there with a smirched smile, and Mudia looks back at him with a serious, watchful gaze. Mudia tells Nomsu, "Don't get involved with that fucker and all." Nosu asks, "Why am I getting involved with it? Why are you so worried for no reason?" Mudia insists, "Still, don't get involved with it. I'm serious." Suddenly, Nosu said, "All right, fine. You seem very worried. Does he know some kind of weakness or something about you that's making you so concerned?" Muyuk listens to this and looks over, seeing Hom Jimpyo and his friends talking among themselves and then moving to the other side. Muyuk is lost in thoughts about his past life. He recalls an accident where Momsu got seriously hurt during a fight. Muyuk was sitting in his classroom and Hyun-sung arrived saying something bad happened. Nosu has got into an accident. Muyuk, still looking in his book on the desk, said, "What accident?" Hyun-sung continues, "Nosu's leg got badly hurt during the fight. He no longer has that leg." His friend, angry and yelling, says this all happened because of a transfer student, Han Jimpyo. Since his father is the chief prosecutor, he is not being questioned. How could he do this? Muyo presses the pencil forcefully and angrily places it in his notebook and says, "What does that have to do with me? Leave, I need to study." Muyo reflects and thinks, back then, he didn't get involved in annoying things. Because of his reason, he even ignored Myung-soo. But this time, Muyo decided he wouldn't give up on anything precious to him, no matter who it was. In the classroom, Nomsu is studying his book when someone arrives. It's Han Jimpyo, who calls out, "Mamsu." Mosu responds, "What?" Jimpyo leans against a chair in front of him and says, "I've heard that you are very close to this guy named Muyuk. I've heard he's very good at fighting. Is that true?" Nosu reassures him, "Don't worry about it. Now he only cares about his studies. He has nothing to do with you." Jimpyo asks, "Really? Does he not have any issues with me taking over this school?" Nosu replies with abusive hand gestures, "Do whatever you want, whether you eat the school boiled and grilled. Muyok has nothing to do with it." Jimpyo says, "That's the shame. This Muyok will piss me off." Nosu, getting angry, says, "What has Muyok done to you? Why are you bothering someone when he just wants to study?" Jimpyo responds, "The reason is that I hate it when people think some bastards are better than me. Don't they seem more scared of Muyok than me?" Nosu looks at the boys and says to Jimpyo, "Don't bother him." At that moment, a boy with Jimpyo approaches from behind and he started slapping on his face saying, "You fucking loser. Do you know who you're talking to? Without Muya, you're nothing. You be hiding in the corner, scared out of your mind, so how dare you talk like that?" Meanwhile, Jimpyo stops the cedar from slapping him and tells Nosu, "As for me, I always get what I need and crush what I want to crush." Jimpyo says this with a taunting smile, which makes Myung-soo furious. Nosu shouts, "Fucker, are you backward?" The boy standing with Jimpyo slams Nomsu's head hard on the desk, turning his nose red. Then he says to Jimpyo, "This is only because you're too close to that bastard Muya. So go take it personally." Jimpyo then says, "Drag him out."